friends. This is Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls together. We are here in one more opportunity to join forces, pray together, study together, and strengthen ourselves, feeling the good, as our dear Master Jesus recommended to all of us. It's not enough to know. We need to feel it. It's all about feelings. How do we feel? We use our reasoning, but then we ask ourselves, where am I in this? So we feel it so we can open our hearts to love. It's not enough to know, to be instructed, to be educated. We need to be coherent. And coherence is about harmony. As Leon Denis says in the book Spiritism in the Arts, and Kardec repeats in many other books, André Luiz, Emmanuel, when we harmonize with God, we're balanced. That's our goal today. We're going to study a chapter that seems so common sense, and yet it is not. It's titled Small Hands. It's by the spirit author Meimei. If you don't know Meimei was named Irma Castro, and she lived in Minas Gerais. She was married to Arnaldo Rocha, who was actually one of the main counselors, spirit counselors, who worked directly with Chico Xavier. And he is the one that tells us the stories and was responsible for the compilation of many important books that were received under the mediumship of Chico Xavier. Psychophonic Instructions and Voices of the Great Beyond. These two books are being translated by Cardiac Radio's team, and soon I promise that we're going to share it with you. Write it down. Yes, that's the plan of on high. People are working non-stop to make this happen. It's a team after all, isn't it? So today we're going to study one more thing to open our hearts. In this book, God Awaits, Deus Aguarda, Meimei is teaching us to feel the good, to feel the scriptures, to feel what Jesus came to teach us. It's amazing the way she covers it all up. Are you ready? Yes, I see wonderful friends joining us. The ones that I can see this far. Steve McPherson, how have you been, my friend? Hello, Carol. It was good to have you there in our service. And you too, John De Rosa. Hello. A big hug to Nina. Raquel Bakeshi. A super hug to you, Maria Silva. How have you been? Karina Alice, a super hug to you. And Daisy, right on, huh? What a beautiful work together, right? Weber Costa, hello, Nora Brazil. Gratitude, Nora. Gratitude, for we have this beautiful translation at hand. Ready? And if you're listening to this on demand, watching on demand, a hug to you too. And of course, Cardiac Radio is here to answer your questions, to address your concerns. Feel free to write to us. If we don't know the answer, we'll pass it on to a team member who will be helping you, okay? Hello, Teresa Castro. Let me revisit with you. On Tuesdays, right now, though we have 24/7 programs, some of the lives or some of the new programs that come up is Tuesdays at 5 p.m. we have our dear Bia Lopes. She streams, we have the audio of Spiritism for Teens. And then we have Cardiac Radio for Teens, right? And then at 9:30 p.m. every Tuesday, we have Fred Gouveia and Josana Vaz disclosing this beautiful studies, gorgeous, of Spiritism in the Arts by Leon Denis. And then on Wednesdays, we have Geraldinho Lemos Neto with To Know Spiritism about Chico Xavier and the latest on him. And the latest studies on him, right? And then on Thursdays, every 2 weeks, we have our dear friend Angie Stewart discussing the Gospel according to Spiritism and Among Brothers of Other Lands, right? Yes. Of course, every night we're here at 11 p.m. And then we have on Saturdays, Carol Correa, beautifully disclosed, leading a session on the God at Home, the Spirit's Book by Kardec, the loss, the divine loss. And then on Fridays as well, Fridays at 1 p.m. we have Kardec After Lunch with Sergio Schickler. He's gonna start the Medium's book study. Yay! You wanna study the Medium's book? Tune in to Kardec Radio every Friday at 11 p.m. You have a small session already breaking down the study of the book, the Medium's book. And then on Sunday, sometimes for some seasons we have Deborah Beldovics live at 8:30 in the morning, right? And then in the evening we have our dear friend Brian Foster, right? Spiritism in the World, beautiful studies. And then at 9 p.m. we have Sunshine leading the Heaven and Hell Part 2, the cases of the spirits disclosed to us. And we have almost more than 3,700 podcasts for you available at Kardec Radio, other programs by other hosts, and the podcasts that are available to you. Okay? Yes. So this is it. Hello, Sunshine. Hello, Sol Souza. Teresa Castro. Are you ready? I was just giving an overview because lately people have been asking. This is the latest on the live programs. More is to come. Just wait and see. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do now, right? So, thank you for your loving kindness. Small hands, says Meimei. Let's think together. Why does an illuminated spirit like Meimei need to come to Earth through a medium to bring the message of today? That's the challenge for you and I as we read this together. And the first question is, why does she need to tell us this? Let me read to you. Small hands. When you caress your child in the warmth of your home, do not lose sight of the anonymous little hands forgotten in helplessness. Flowers, swirling in the wind, resemble stars lost in the storm. It is a sea of suffering and anguish that surround you. Clear your vision so that the afflictive scenario does not pass by unnoticed by you. Small hands of various colors struggling through the shadows. They came to earth as sweet promises of joy that strive to survive in their search for goodness. Light a fire of kindness out of love towards every little child who inspires you to honor the blessing of a home, and do not refuse assistance to those tiny arms, pleading and beckoning from a wave of revolt for compassion and affection. Help these human lilies who pull themselves out of mud of darkness so they can visibly develop at the breath of light. You say life calls for love and expect a better world. Well, do not deny your tiny pieces of affection to angels who weep during a storm. Grab their little frozen hands in the coldness of disenchantment And through the warmth of your self-denial, help them feel reborn again into their existence. That way, they become sculptors of your dream towards perfection and greatness in the splendor of tomorrow. Unlock the doors of your heart to embrace the neglected children who have slept in unsafe cribs and protect them with arms of assurance. Remember that one day, the two small hands relegated to abandonment in a simple stable were once the hands of Jesus, the divine King, who still today are our refuge of peace and hope in the entire world. Question to all of us. Why does an illuminated spirit like Meimei need to come to us to write a common sense message like this one? Answer: because it's not common sense. Are we helping the children? But Vanessa, I don't know any, but we need to go after them. They exist everywhere in the world, including in the United States. I know an organization that happens in many places in the US named Birthright. And it's a good opportunity to go there and help. They give support to mothers who don't have enough conditions so they can avoid abortion. And you can donate to food banks, diaper food banks. You can visit shelters. There are shelters here in Virginia that we have visited where they have shelters for teenage girls who became mothers and their children. Can you imagine you being a teenager and having a child? How hard it is. And there it is. There it is. An opportunity for us to help. I visited. I remember I was pregnant of Virginia, and Mentor Joseph asked us to stop by at this teen shelter in Vienna, Virginia. I couldn't believe some of the wealthiest areas here, they have hidden shelters everywhere. It's great, we have some structure, and yet we still have a long way to make people feel they can begin anew. And I remember visiting them, only women were allowed, so Carlos was not allowed to enter. And I had a session with them, a psychological session. As a psychologist, I brought some techniques to relieve emotions. And I remember one of them stayed like this the whole time. She was seated and kept her. It was a little cold that day, and she put her clothing covering her mouth like this. She stayed like that the whole time. She didn't want to talk. She was kind of hidden, secluded. It was then that at some point of the conversation, she decided to talk as well. And she talked about her life. And we could only imagine how their children would be raised up if they are in a shelter with their children, with no support of family. It's better than being in the streets, and yet it's not enough. So tonight, Meimei is asking us to feel it. Feel for whom? For the children of anonymous people who are in need. They don't have food or shelter, or don't have emotional security because of domestic violence as well. And what can you do? And at the end of it all, this is Meimei. And you may read this, say, it's a drama. No, it's not drama, it's reality. The children of refugees. And then we hear Meimei saying to us, first of all, she gives a command. Clear your vision so you can see these afflictive scenarios and don't let them pass by unnoticed. So this is all. I have a pen. Clear. So first homework for us. Seek, search, do our homework. Where are there children that I need to help? We need to clear our vision, meaning we need to see where they are. 2, she says, light a fire of kindness out of love towards every child who inspires you to honor the blessing of a home. Do not refuse assistance to those tiny arms, pleading and beckoning from a wave of revolt for compassion and affection. So be kind and help, assist. Help those human lilies who were born to be helped. And do not deny pieces of affection. Grab those little cold hands and forget about yourself, she says, self-denial. Help them feel reborn again. Unlock the doors of your heart to embrace the neglected children. And if it's not enough, Meimei says, remember that Jesus, when he was born, she says, abandoned in a stable, because the parents didn't have anybody. It was common in the Hebrew tradition, and in human tradition, you have a baby, you have support around. Mary couldn't have support. She didn't have her own home to give birth to Jesus. It had to be with the animals at a stable. Those little hands, she says, were in this abandoned space. And it was the hands of Jesus, the divine King, that is our refuge of peace and hope nowadays. This reminds me of a story that I told here before, but I will repeat. I remember traveling to the northeast of Brazil, in the state of Maranhão. And I remember seeing clearly this woman was super pregnant. And I stopped by and I said, how are you doing? When is your baby due? She said, it was supposed to be born. Put your hand here in my belly, she said. And I did. And she said, you see, it was supposed to be born, but I don't want to go to the hospital. And I said, why not? Well, because I did everything to kill this baby, she said. Everything. I already have kids. I didn't want any more. So I put a stick in my vagina, she said, because I didn't want to be pregnant. The baby didn't die. I drank several different types of tea to get rid of this baby, and I didn't succeed. Oh well, I'm hoping that this baby is never gonna come true. Do you want this baby for you? Back then I didn't have Virginia. I thought, well, that's not a bad idea. I could bring this child to the US. And then I prayed inside of my heart. And then Mentor Joseph said, this child is not yours. This child is supposed to be the light of this woman. When this child is born, this child is gonna be the happy angel in this woman's life. Bless her and tell her that this child is going to be the dream child of her life. And I did it. I said, please go to the hospital, have this baby. I can feel that God is telling you that this baby is your angel reincarnated. Years later, I've come to know through acquaintances in the city that the mentors were right. That she was never seen that happy, and she adored the child. True story. Meimei is right. Thank God our Master Jesus, the Divine King, survived the storms of persecutions during Mary's pregnancy and was able to be born, yet in a humble stable. Because today, the little hands of that child are our refuge. And that's the promise of every child in the world, to be the refuge of love and peace for all of us. There are so many ways we can help children. If you don't find one immediately, go to fraternitywithoutborders.org or fraternidadesemfronteiras.org, and then sponsor a child, make your donation. But even if you do this in your city where you are, let us find these children. Where are they? For those who are in the United States, we would recommend you may find children who are sick and families of theirs who are being temporarily guests in the Ronald McDonald houses throughout the United States. We've been to some of them in our area over the years since we were in Baltimore, and we say the stories of the families and the children are amazing. They need our support. Sometimes all that they need is that you fix them dinner, fix them breakfast, so they can have some relief and less compression to take care of their children. So our homework today is to help a child. In the next 24 hours, let us all join forces. Even if you watch this on demand or listen on demand, no matter which day you're listening to this, let us aim at helping a child, giving them something, making them feel reborn. And if you think it's only about those who are in the streets, it's about the children of the wealthy who are forgotten because the parents are so busy. Give them your love, give them your attention, your approval. As Carol Correa is saying, it's love in action. This is it for today. Easy, huh? Let us observe the small hands and embrace them with our love. Okay? May we thank God for this opportunity and celebrate, because we're this close from ending the probation of our planet Earth on July 20th, tomorrow, 2019, as Carol Correa said, at 3:17 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? Right, Teresa Castro, a perfect homework to end our probation on Earth. Beautiful reminder, beautifully stated. Thank you, Teresa. A big hug to you. And until tomorrow, God willing.